Growing up starts with being born. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm the Director of Marketing at IdeaPros, and I have Fred Cary, who is CEO of IdeaPros. And today we're talking about the beginnings, the beginnings of businesses. And our goal right now is to kind of give you that hope that your V1 is going to be amazing, but it's going to change a lot. So, Fred, if you want to, I know he's going to say it so much better than me. So I'm just going to hand it over to you, Fred.
Yeah, I'm going to take away the word amazing and substitute it for the word embarrassing because that's exactly what the CEO of LinkedIn. You can look it up here after the show, please. Look it up, and that's what he says. If you are not embarrassed by the first version of your product, whether it's an app or physical product, then you're waiting too long to launch. And this whole show, this series is going to be showing you where other companies started, how they got going, how they progressed, how they made enormous changes to be the companies that you recognize today and that you want to be like today, just to show you that there is a journey, there is a method, there is a real need to get out there in the public eye, even if that public's only the first 100 people that you come to. So what I want to do is avoid this syndrome of trying to be born as an adult and recognize the fact that you have to be born as a baby. And so if you can start thinking that we need to get something in my company and we need to get it out as being your most important thing, rather than we need to have these 38 different features that my customers may use 3 of, then you're going to be a lot more comfortable with the journey of going from development to launching than you will be if you're looking for perfection, or this shade of green, or is this font perfect, or am I covering everything that anybody that I want as a customer could possibly want to change their life completely. No, we don't want to do any of those things. We're going to give you some really good examples of other companies that have been through this journey. I know that Tessa's laughing in the background because she's hectically trying to put some of those
I am.
together. But I'm going to
Well, there's
talk.
some really good images, like the before and afters, and I don't have them all in a presentation yet, but you guys will have the final version of these. But we do have some of the most popular apps in there before and semi-current as quickly as I could get them, but fun ones like Instagram and Facebook. So
Yeah.
shall
So
we? I have actually Google to start with, and if
okay.
we will dive into that one. But before we do that, if you're watching live with us, just hashtag live so we know that you're catching. If you're catching the replay, hashtag replay. It always helps us because we can figure out if there's a better time of day to do our shows. So if you would love to see our shows live but can't because we're always on at noon, let us know so I can fix it. I mean, I'm not going to promise anything, but we'll try.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't promise anything about
But let us know because I'm trying to show Fred that you guys want this every Friday. So you'll have to give us some thumbs up in the chat that these are helpful. But I'm going to show you right now. We're going to dive into Google, and then I have many more. So you'll
Okay, but
have to catch.
hold on,
Okay,
before you
before.
show it, how many people here have heard of Google? Raise your hands.
Raise your hands. Show us in the chat.
Um, and then let me know how many people have heard of the company Backrub. Probably nobody raising their hand. So why don't we start with Google?
Okay, we'll dive into Google. Let me share my screen over here. Let's see if it will work. Slide. It is not going live. Hold on. It's coming. There it is. All right. Is it? Can you see it?
Nope.
It's telling me that it's having a moment. Okay. Can you see it now? Okay. Come on. No. All right. Y'all, Fred, you can Not Yahoo. We were, oh, I see. No, that's like Yahoo. So Fred,
Well,
let's,
well, Tessa, get
I'm
her.
trying to figure it out yet. Thank
Um,
you.
let,
Oh,
let
there we
me
go.
let me talk a little bit about it. Okay, so Backrub was the first search engine that the Google people built, and it was in the 1990s, and it was personally developed by the Google founder Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They had gotten out of Stanford. They wanted to, well, it started as a research project, really, um, and I think 1996 or so. Okay, it's not that long ago, is when Backrub started, and it was a research project, and it was a team that worked with the Stanford Digital Library project, and the goal was developing technologies which would create a universal digital library. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
started. That was the thesis of his graduate program, that he was trying to put together a link structure that led to the development of an algorithm that ranked pages. That's what they wanted to be. Okay, when they launched, and it was called Backrub, and so he was working on it. Then Sergey joined him. He was working on a similar study. And then they started developing this. And the reason it was called Backrub is because what it would do, it would go out and search for different websites that had what's called backlinks. Backlinks are other companies, other websites that refer to that. And they would rank the results based on whichever company had the most backlinks. Therefore, it was called Backrub. And they realized while they were doing that on the ranking of these different URLs would give you much better results than you would get from the standard way that the keyword searches that were taking place back in the day then. And so they built Backrub on the principle that websites that had the most links would be the most relevant. Okay, and they started indexing in '96, and I think the beginning of '96. By August, they had some 75 million pages, and then they were growing exponentially, adding more and more and more and more. And then by 1998, they renamed it from Backrub to Google. And after that, several years after that, started making some money. And so I think that the series of servers that ran on Backrub and everything really ran through Stanford University until 2007. So here we are, 5 years into where they started with this thing. And then they started building out search engine optimization. But that's how that little company started.
Right?
And so you
That's
have,
what it looked
oh,
like.
that's what it looks like. Okay.
That's
Um,
what it started. Well, before Backrub, obviously when Google took over, I literally could not find any pictures of what Backrub looked like in the very beginning.
Back
So,
rub was basically a hand on a back. Uh,
well, that makes sense.
that's how it started. And this is the first Google. Okay, guys, look at this. Are you embarrassed? Yes, I'm embarrassed for them. You should be embarrassed for them. It's horrible. Okay, it's horrible.
Well,
Look
and
where they are
then
today.
look at this is the search that came out, the Google beta that they came out with, and how it looked in the very beginning. I remember these. I remember when Google first came out. It's actually when I decided to start doing web design type activities. So, but it was mostly libraries that we were doing bulletin board systems back then. So this is the original, and now you know what Google looks like today. And so I didn't get the slide. It's silly, I didn't get Google. That one would have been easy to screenshot. I apologize, guys. But
Yeah.
we have another one for
Oh, wait,
y'all.
before we go on to the other one.
Yes.
I think the important thing here is they launched as a research project. They launched to just try to find a little bit better way of indexing things. Okay, that's not the company they are today. Google is the company that rules the world, and they have phones. They've acquired hundreds of other companies. Everywhere you look, Google's involved, and we all want to be Google, but we don't want to recognize the fact that Google started V1 embarrassing.
Right. And actually Google went to a more simplified layout, and a lot of the reason why Google went back is because they want to be known. They wanted the easiest possible way for you to do a search for anything, that you would find exactly what you wanted with no extra clutter. So the platforms always had so much going on in them, so that was their differentiator back then, was the simplest version that you could get. And then they even have the buttons that say, are you feeling lucky? Like they were you might let them guess for you. It was a crazy thing at the time. And now Google changes their screen every day. They have a new animation every day for what's going on in the world at that time. But very simple, very basic, concept is what they started with, and they still do now. They just have a lot more ads, right? So perfect. I'm going to try to share this again, and it's not behaving today as well as it should, that's for sure. So the next one we're going to go into is Snapchat. Some of you may not know what Snapchat is, but it's very, very popular. It's 24 hours that these are actually available. Let's see if you're going to cooperate. Why are you not showing it? Oh my gosh. Okay. It's because I want it to happen. It's why it's not working as well.
Let's talk about Snapchat.
Yes.
Snapchat, well, you're trying to fumble your way through.
No, today.
Snapchat was really started by a couple of guys that it was basically invented to send nude shit over the internet.
Yes.
And you'd send a photo to your girlfriend or your restraining order person, and of a part of your body, and back and forth. That's what it was. That's why it was created. That's why the pictures disappear, and you can't copy them. You're not supposed to screenshot them. That's what happens with it. And so that was 2011.
2011 was when the first screenshots came from. This came from the first release, when it was released to the public, not the beta, but the public release.
Okay.
Fun. And then let's see. So this is the screen that was advertising it. So it just had a bar at the top and people's names. And then This is today. So it's come a long ways. There's filters, face filters. It's probably what Snapchat is known best for, is the augmentation that the video that is captured in video now. But back then.
Can you go back one more slide?
Yes.
Okay. So when this came out, and it's still an issue now with them, it was only available on iOS. Only launched on iOS. 2 years later, they got the Android version out. They are still building separately, and you can have a new version come out on iOS and an Android version come out later. So when you got your bootstrap company and you don't have any money and you're trying to get live, if you have to go live on iOS first, go live on iOS first. If you have to go live on Android first, go out on Android first. Do what you need to do without trying to be perfect, okay? Because perfect is the enemy of good enough. Good enough is the only thing that's going to get you out there where you need to go. So we keep looking at all these companies and where they are today, and it's like, wow, why would anybody come to me? Because Google looks like this now. Why would anybody come to me? Because Snapchat looks like this now. They all started that way. And Snapchat, as you see, 2011. Wasn't that long ago.
Right.
And they're a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right. And I think the other thing that you have to take into consideration is that you have to test it and figure out if your audience actually wants those features, because a lot of the features that are originally people thought were going to be the main drivers are not what it actually is used for. Like Snapchat, obviously it's used for the 24-hour, it goes away, it's not a record. But the filters, I go to it to do the filters. There's a baby filter I've used in before for, creating content. It's crazy. You don't have to, a lot of people do use it for what it's for. But I would also say that when you started, you mentioned App Store versus Google Play. So it's actually easier to get in the Google Play Store because they're not as restricted. So it's not often that people start with the app in the App Store. It's actually usually the opposite. So it's interesting to me that they started with iOS.
Yeah, and we have an app right now that we're building that we can only build it in iOS because iOS has this certain new 3D technology that is available on Android yet. So we're building it there only first, and so it depends. But the point is, get out however you need to get out. And these are examples of people that if you were the one running the show, you probably would not have allowed it to launch yet because it didn't have anything that you wanted. And look where they are today.
Right. And this is the original, like how they were advertising it. Obviously, just 2 shots back then, too. And now 2021, this is what they're focusing on: expressing yourself, living in the moment, learn about the world, and have fun with friends. Like that's how they're promoting it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So we also have Facebook, the original. Yeah. So this is actually one of the first flyers for advertisers. So they were actually showing what the potential look for the Facebook was in the beginning. And Fred, do you have stats on Facebook, or do you want me to go to the other screens?
Well, I want to talk about Facebook a little bit too, because Facebook was really, I think it was for Harvard University, and it was really just a student directory. That's what it was. That's where they started. In fact, we have an app called Ribbon, and we had a meeting yesterday about that, and the founder was not happy because didn't want to launch because there's certain things it didn't do that he wanted it to do, but we discovered something that's amazing about Ribbon that is going to be more powerful than anything that we thought that we were building, and it kind of accidentally in the way the development process went. So Ribbon is an app that is supposed to be a gifting sort of reminder app, and he wanted the first version to be able to say, hey, it's your wife's anniversary next week. Here's some links to buy some shit for her. And the way developers accidentally develop this is that propose gifts for all sorts of different types of things: graduation, birthdays, anniversaries, adventure trips, whatever. It all gets user generated. So nobody can see who you are, but they can see the type of gift that you want to give. And so now we've created this thing that when it launches, it's going to be completely user generated. Like, what am I going to do on my anniversary? And you're going to click on it, and there's going to be 3,000 people that have come up with all these different cool ideas, ranking the ideas of the different things you can do for gifting and everything. And it's because of a slip of the development process that gateway was left open. And now, instead of having to do all the research and recommend gifts and things ourselves, it's going to be all user generated. So it becomes a lot more interactive, a lot more fun. You can comment on different places. And so here's something that we went this way that is pretty easy to duplicate, and we turned it into a social gifting environment that is going to make it a hell of a lot better, in spite of the fact it's not going to have 3 or 4 things that our founder wants to have in the first version of it.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
It is. Well, I love every time I hear about what we're coming out with, it blows my mind. I'm amazed that people have so many awesome ideas. So let's see.
And awesome ideas, by the way, generate over time. Right?
It's true. It's true.
Facebook was a directory for students at Harvard. And now Facebook is Meta, and Facebook also owns Instagram, who, by the way, was bought for $1 billion 2 years after they launched with 0 revenue because they focused on building an audience instead of how am I going to get my money right away out of my investment. They got $1 billion in 2 years. So, and they look like shit. Do we have an Instagram example?
Oh, I believe I do, but we'll see. I'm going to show Facebook because I started to tease you guys on it. I just think this is pretty interesting. So it started, more like a profile, like MySpace, right? So it was very similar to a profile type environment.
I got to interrupt you. MySpace was the most searched term on the internet, searched even more than Google. So when you're out there and you're thinking like, oh my God, there's a competitor, or how am I going to do this? It's just impossible. There's this enormous organization there. Facebook killed MySpace. And before MySpace, I think there was something called Friendster that was almost as popular as MySpace. That got killed by MySpace. So don't start panicking when you see competitors. Anyway, let's go back to this story.
No problem. All right. So this is 2005. Yes, 2005. This is what it looked like on the feed. So of the ads that normally are down the side, lots and lots of image posts. Like this would be the equivalent of a carousel post. It's pretty interesting to see some of those. And then 2006, they did revamp. So it goes into a mini feed. So they didn't even have a Facebook feed before. And then they came out with it. And nope, not today. Yep, that's today. So this is what it looks like now. And the biggest change is that we have stories. We have, obviously spawned a lot more ads. There's groups. There's all kinds of things in Facebook that they didn't used to have. Marketplace. There's a lot of big changes that happened to Facebook over that, period of time. And it's not that long. You mentioned it for another one of the businesses, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but the technology can change so quickly.
Yeah. And so don't try to be these companies. Try to be these companies where they started.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So we have, let me just see. Okay. So we have more feeds. That just is a better, it shows reels too. So video came out with the reel style, the tall stories as well. So
they've also this year kind of integrated Instagram and Facebook, where you post something on Instagram, it will all go to Facebook, and now you're getting comments on your Instagram page for people that only have Facebook that are friends of yours on Facebook. So that is another growth thing that they've gone through as well. But again, this is a journey, and this is hundreds of millions of dollars that are spent in development over time.
Yes.
Don't be Facebook today. Be Facebook in 2007.
Yeah. So 2002 Instagram. So that's what the app looked like. I love looking even at the phones because I had.
You got to go back. You got to go back even further, and we don't need to do it today. But if you guys do a search and look for the first Instagram photos, because when Instagram first came out, I don't think you were even able to share or like in the very beginning. So this is a
public. Yes, this is a public release date. So I think they had the beta, but I will see if I can find it for you guys and add it into the final presentation. But it's very interesting because this is the feed where you can see other people's and you can also search. So this is the big change that happened now in 20. This is a shot from.
Go back. Is that last one?
Go back.
The last one, this one here. This is what their feeds look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could do only. Okay. You could
Wait. Are you guys embarrassed? Because I'm fucking embarrassed about this. I am so embarrassed looking at this.
Well, and I heard that there was a lot of problems with file size, how it was uploaded. So you got denied a lot when you were trying to upload your images because they had a max file size that just wasn't reasonable. So
they had to be square.
They had to be square. Well, in this case, yeah, they all had to be square. Definitely. There was that's the cool part though. And I don't even know if I got all of it in there, and I may not have, but the editing features are the biggest thing. Instagram has 50 different editing features now. They started with 0. The only thing you could do was crop your image, and that's it. And that even came after. So it wasn't even a current thing. So I definitely think that we'll have to put more in there. I know we're at the bottom of the hour too. And these, Fred came up with some really good ones that were fun for me to research. They just took a lot longer to research than I had hoped. So
Well,
we're
so the first Instagram, if you look up the first Instagram photo, a lot of people say it was his dog, but I think the first one, it was a picture of a bridge or something he took. But they posted two at the same time. There's two pictures on all of
yeah,
Instagram. One was his dog and his girlfriend's leg with a flip flop.
it's true. I found that picture.
You did? You
I
have it?
did. I did. I'll put it on the screen.
Okay. This is it.
The
This
first
was
dog
it.
image. Okay.
This was
Here.
Instagram. This was the company that got acquired for $1 billion after 2 years. This is where they started. And
Yep. Yep.
see my sentences are going slower and slower because I'm waiting for Tessa to get
I
to
know
that.
you're like, hold it, stall, stall. Just kidding. I'm gonna change over to it for you. So, can you see? I don't know if it's actually showing because it's got a new interface. So bear
Not
with
going
me. Of
down.
course not. Of course
There we
not.
go.
How about now? Okay, so
Wow,
this is the picture.
you're showing the whole screen.
Well, it's just gonna have to do.
We can't see the picture.
Oh, okay. So the first picture is this little dog. This is the first post.
We can't. We're seeing a repetitive screen set.
Okay, well, hey, that's fun. All right, come on. There we
Now we're
go.
just me and you. No.
But it's technology. It's just yeah, I don't know why it's behaving this way.
Okay.
Well, all right. I will post it in. Yeah, it won't even let me open that one. So I guess we're not going to share it. It won't let me share anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, let me go back a little bit in time, and let me talk about Listerine. Um, and you guys can look this up afterwards because I'm sure Tessa's not going to find it. And if she finds
Yeah,
it,
don't ask me to. I'm not even.
Listerine started out as a floor cleaner. That's what it was. They didn't change the recipe, and all of a sudden it became a mouthwash. But people didn't use mouthwashes. Halitosis, the word halitosis, you want to look that up too, is a word really largely invented by Listerine to talk about bad breath, and they created a whole market out of nothing. And I use that example only because some of the brands that we recognize most in the world started out way different. And even back at the turn of the, not this century, but the one before, companies like Listerine were stumbling into what they were going to become. Sticky pads that we all used to use. I don't use them anymore, but I know a lot of friends that still use the little sticky pads. Another accident by 3M, where they were trying to make a glue, and they were trying to make a strong glue, and they ended up failing. And a guy found that wow, this holds paper together, and the whole sticky pads became huge by an accident. So you can be going down one road. Don't think that the road you're going down is going to be the right one, but you got to get out of neutral. You got to get into drive. You got to go down that road because ahead of you is going to be 3 or 4 different ways that you can travel, and you don't know what those ways are. The only way you're going to find out, put the car in drive and start driving that little tiny car, and you'll end up with a Formula One car at the end of the race if you start the race. So be born before you can grow up.
There you go.
Ah, there it is. Well,
Ta-da!
found it. That's the
That's the
first
post.
photo, guys.
So
Second photo. But
another big thing is take pictures when you're doing your first version. I love the before and afters and everything along the way. So as you're creating this, document your journey because it could be in a news story someday.
yeah. So when you first downloaded Instagram, this is what you saw. And
And you could only like it.
you could be Kevin's friend. You could follow Kevin. I don't know that you could even like it.
On the first one?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not sure.
true. You're right.
Very
You're right.
limited. Whatever it is, you guys can look up the history of any of these things and study them and be comfortable with being embarrassed. with the version 1, comfortable with embarrassment, because if you're not embarrassed, if you're proud, if you're like, I can't believe we got this out and it looks so amazing, you've waited way too long.
And you probably have competitors now that have figured out how to do it before you did.
I'm not worried about competitors. But speaking of competitors, Uber and Lyft. Lyft would have never launched because Uber was already $1 billion company. And by the way, when Uber launched, what was it? It was a taxi service. They only used existing taxis, and it was the ability to ask for a taxi on your phone right away and to be able to see where the taxi was. That's where it started. That was the beginning of Uber. They're a little bit different now, and you guys get on the road just like Uber and start driving.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Fred. I will let you go, and we did have a lot of comments, guys, and I know I wasn't able to watch because I was manning the PowerPoint. So I will hop on over here to your chats. Thank you guys all for being here live. We must crawl before we walk. Absolutely, Vanessa, so true. And the big picture, though, I saw somebody's comment that I really wanted to put on here. Oh, thanks. That was so nice. Sage with Sean with Sage. IdeaPros develops quality products which save you money and time in development. Thank you. I will just take that and put it all over everywhere. You're so sweet. A lot of work went in. Oh, all right. Yes. Maybe every other week. So thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. You missed some.
Katie, a lot of work doesn't go into these things.
Don't say that.
I tell Tessa a half hour before, and she just has to go nuts for a half an hour.
No, but the level of stress on me is like 2 weeks worth of stress. No, there is a lot that goes into the show. So it matters to me because if you are here, if you're watching the replay, then we know that we're doing what we want, which is getting more entrepreneurs the information they need to be able to launch better. So thank you, Katie.
Yeah. We'll be here every Friday until you get a restraining order.
There you go. Thank you so much. And everyone, if you haven't followed us, hit the bell to get reminders. And we are here every Friday at noon Pacific time. However, I'm not sure what Fred's going to do while I'm in Africa for 2 weeks. So we'll have to figure that out. You going to go live by yourself, Fred?
You will go live from Africa.
I cannot go live from Africa. I'm pretty sure that they don't even have like paved places where I'm going. So it's going to be a little bit rougher than I'm used to. Well, there is Wi-Fi in one spot and I can use WhatsApp, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have to figure out what that might be. And I usually do shows from you guys. So your videos, your tips. So if you do want to submit tips so that we could do a nice compilation video while I'm gone, that would be awesome. And I'll have Fred think of some things that he can do as well, or he can go live with somebody new. You never know. All right. Thank you. Bye, Fred. Bye. Sage, awesome job. I know you have 92,000 followers. You keep going up. We'll have to do a show with you just to tell us how you are doing all these things, what your secret is. Maybe you don't want to share your secret even, but hopefully. Oh, what's the story behind the project? What's your story? I love it. Definitely write the story behind your project. We usually have our IdeaPros partners meet with a press release gentleman, Paul Fitzgerald, and they write their story. So it's very important. 1-800-GOT-JUNK got on Oprah because their backstory was so interesting, and they also did unique things, like the way they did their culture, the way they structure their business. It was newsworthy. So what is your newsworthy story, right? So Fred he is so good at fun facts. He just gives them to me like 2 minutes before we're supposed to be live. Not quite. He gave me a little bit more than that. Not much. So thank you. And everyone, oh, sorry, Vanessa, I clicked the wrong one. There we go. You're welcome. Odin, thank you so much. I'm glad it's motivating. It's a reality check, if nothing else, right? We all want the best possible version. Even today, while I'm creating these, slides, I want it to be amazing for y'all and that we could slide through and just see before and after. But realistically, you just have to go sometimes. You just have to go and then know that you can make it better on the flip side, right? So thank you. We'll see you all next week. Have a blessed week, everyone. Bye.